welcome to the Drive right here on IndigoMusic.com. I'm Rohit, and today we are going to take a look at 5 iconic cars from movie franchises. Let's start off with Fast and Furious. Yes, the movie is all about cars and racing, and it's of course about family. We will leave the family on the other side. But let's talk about Vin Diesel's famous 1970 Dodge Charger, the car that pulls wheelies. It's got this big blower in the front, and it's definitely a thing to look at, isn't it? The Dodge Charger RT, which is used in the Fast and Furious series, features a false BDS 871 root-style supercharger with chrome-plated plastic attached to the hood. Now, according to the movie producers, the car has got a 440 cubic inch V8 motor that produces 900 horsepower and also has a 250 shot nitrous to give it that extra push. Moving on from one iconic car from the Fast and Furious franchise to another, I'm talking about Too Fast, Too Furious, where Brian O'Connor, played by Paul Walker, comes in a car that literally broke all the records. I'm talking about the Nissan Skyline GTR. Now, the Nissan Skylines produced for the film were all the R34s. Now, the model itself was introduced back in 1998, and the R34s in the film were powered by an RB26 DET 2.6 litre DOHC 24 valve straight 6 engine that also had twin turbos and officially made about 280 horsepower. It also had a 6-speed Getrag gearbox that sends its power to the Atessa all-wheel drive system. Well, basically it was an all-wheel drive car, and it's the most iconic, the most priceless car as of today. Moving on from Fast and Furious to a car that a lot of people think is fiction. I'm talking about the Dark Knight trilogy's Tumbler. Now, this particular car is used by the Vigilante. I'm talking about the Batman. It's not called a car, but it's called the Batmobile. Now, the Tumbler has a General Motors sourced LS1 V8 engine. It's a 5.7 litre V8. Although the jet engine version of the Tumbler was also real, with multiple propane tanks that were bolted to the vehicles to give it the real jet effect rather than adding it in the post-processing. Now, the sweet music of Motorheads Everywhere was sadly mated to an automatic transmission, and the motor was enough to accelerate the Tumbler quickly to a top speed of an estimated 160 miles per hour. Well, the Tumbler being as heavy as a tank, it did 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 5.6 seconds, so it was a fast car. Moving on from the United States to the Brits, I'm talking about the most iconic car in a movie franchise when it comes to British, and that is the James Bond's Aston Martin DB5.
Now pay attention, 007.
Well, it's got guns, it's got smoke bombs, it's got everything that James Bond needs to evade enemies. Now, the Aston Martin DB5 is a British Grand Tourer, or what's called GT, produced by Aston Martin and designed by Italian coach builder Carrozzeria Touring Superleggera. Originally produced from 1963 to 1965, the DB5 was an evolution of the final series of DB4. Now, the DB in the DB5 stands for David Brown, who built up the company from 1947 and above. Well, since we're in Britain, let's talk about another car. And this is not from a movie, but this is from children's TV series. I'm talking about Mr. Bean's famous Mini Cooper. Of course, Mr. Bean, played by Rowan Atkinson, a fantastic comedian, and he drives around this Mini Cooper, which had its first television appearance on 1st January 1991. And in that episode, Mr. Bean discovered that he has not done enough change for a multi-story car parking ticket, and he tries to exit the barrier. Yes, if you remember that particular episode, that's when the Mini Cooper is first debuted on the screen. Now, this particular Mini Cooper was made in 1979, and it had a 998cc inline-4 engine and produced only 39 horsepower at 4,750 RPM. Back in the day, in 1979, this car costed nearly 2,278 pounds. Today, it's in the National Motoring History Museum in the United Kingdom. Well, that's a wrap on this edition of The Drive. Tell me which is your favorite iconic movie car in the comment section below. Until next time, this is Rohit signing off.